Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here with Paull Tickner, who is our Britain Insider columnist. You've read him often in Insider Travel Report. And he also runs a company called Custom GB, which offers customized trips to Britain. And we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of the new Manchester Gateway on travel to Britain. And this is Insider Travel Report. Now, Paul, first off, let's talk about this Manchester Gateway, which has been an evolving airport for Britain for some time, and I know you've been a big proponent of getting to Manchester as opposed to going through, Heathrow or Gatwick. Talk a little bit about the service now at Manchester and why it's become so big.
I think it's principally because there are more North American airlines flying direct into Manchester. So instead of in the early days when there may have been two or three, now we've got quite a multiplicity of them. Virgin have got some very good routes now from Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York, and from Boston next year, which means that people are being offered an alternative. Manchester attracts a very large volume of people every year, but not that many coming from North America, which means that the immigration lines can often be a lot shorter. So, and having said this, we'll probably find the first person that does it walk straight into a 2-hour wait.
Well, we hope not.
Not quite. But the ability to be able to get airside, curbside is greatly enhanced. So you can really do that in about 40 minutes, which has a lot to go for it.
So the ease of access and the ease of getting through all this is probably one of the best reasons to go. But then, of course, the other reason is you are in pretty much the center of England at this point, and there's a lot of options there, right?
There are. And I think if people look at the map, it is by a strange coincidence, if you like, Manchester can be seen to be slap bang in the middle of not just England, but Britain, making it therefore very easy for people to fly in, go to North Wales plus Ireland, to use Manchester as a means of getting via the Lake District to Scotland. I've even put something together for somebody who's coming into Manchester and going down through Stratford and the Cotswolds to London that way round. So it's I think it's a destination, or a gateway rather, which is perhaps not going to appeal so much to the first, second and third timers, because they're going to want to do London. Until they've got that out of their system, they're going to use that as the means of getting in and out. But for the more discerning traveller who's been to Britain many times before, the idea of that ease of access is distinctly appealing. And if travel agents get to know a bit more about what's on the other side of the Manchester Gateway, then they begin to see the kind of things which would appeal to customers. I've put something together just a short while ago for somebody who's flying in, two of them flying in, and they're going to have their first night in Chester. It's a 40-minute journey from Manchester to Chester, and they're going to have a full English breakfast. That's a good way of starting the trip at the Grosvenor Hotel. And then they'll find there, waiting for them outside, a Roman centurion in full Roman armour, who's going to take them on a walking tour of the city. So you can kick off in a way which makes it very different from the norm. If you head south of Manchester, 40 miles, you've got internationally known names like Wedgwood, Royal Dalton, Spode, names that everybody knows because they've bought the porcelain or they've got the china or whatever. But that invites a shop and ship trip. You can spend 2 nights in England buying direct ex-factory. And dare I mention it, we've got the Beatles as well.
In Liverpool, yeah, absolutely. And there's even more attractions now with the Beatles. There's a Strawberry Fields is opening, which is a new attraction related to the song, obviously, and it's an attraction within Liverpool, right?
And Rogue Best is also, in addition to his Casbah Club that we went to a couple of years ago, he's just opened another museum full of his own memorabilia just next to the Cavern Club. So
Rogue Best is the son of the former Beatles first drummer, Pete Best,
brother,
right?
Yes,
yeah,
brother.
The brother. Brother. I got to get that right.
And he's off the wall. I mean, I've taken people there, and his presentation is really quite extraordinary. But it gets everybody laughing, and it's all based on fact.
Yeah, no, and it's marvelous. I did that with you a few years ago, where we saw the basement of the Casbah Club, the first place the Beatles actually really played, maybe not as the Beatles. But then, a lot of things. I mean, even for me as a football fan, soccer fan for you, going to Manchester is great because you're going to Manchester City, the home of Manchester City, and Manchester United, right?
That's right. And similarly with Liverpool and Everton on the other side. Right. So we do have some, for the sporting-minded customer, some really... It's all to do with names names and places and things which people are associated with. It might be difficult for some people to talk about selling Manchester, Liverpool, Chester by name, but if you start talking about some of the things like Roman-led, Centurion-led tours, like buying from Wedgwood, like going to where the Beatles started, that's a different kind of concept altogether. And for an older, more seasoned and discerning client, that chimes with them very clearly.
So obviously a reason to fly into Manchester. You're in the center of England, and I mean, boy, don't we all want an ease of access going straight from the flight down to the tarmac down to the curbside in record time, we hope. And I believe me, I just went through Heathrow and I was unfortunately there for quite some time. And I have been to Manchester, and it's a really super airport and really modern, and it does get you access. But Paul, thank you for filling us in on why Manchester, why that gateway works so well. If you want to see the rest of England, and yeah, you can go to London too, but come back and leave for Manchester after that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.